93.5. I'm nowcast meteorologist Matthew Harding.
Hello. Welcome, Raleigh and surrounding areas. Wherever you might be watching from, welcome. You have now entered RDU Live on Oak 93.5 WRLY. I am your host, Cameron McCarty. Thank you for joining us. If you're in the Raleigh listening area, we really appreciate you. And also, wherever you might be around the country, around the world, if you're on YouTube or Facebook Live, we appreciate you tuning in with us right now. We're on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We're live on the airwaves for an hour, so lock in. We got some good conversations, some good topics to talk about for this hour. We're lucky enough once again to have a guest with us today. I'm going to intro him in just a second. We have a guest that we're going to be talking to. So in this hour, if you want to call in and talk to us, the number is 919-899-9305. Any topic that you hear that you want to chime in on, go ahead and give us a call. The phone lines are open. So we have an entrepreneur, a business person, a musician, and with us, Mr. Alan Thompson. Alan Thompson, how you doing?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm doing good, man. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you for coming on and being on here for this hour. So we're gonna get deeper into what you have going on, but I wanted to hit two quick topics right at the top of the show just to kind of set the stage for us. And the first one today is September 12th. So we just wanted to give a little memory to September 11th, which was yesterday. And you know, if you've been living long enough, you know about September 11th and just that moment in time that we all experienced as a country, as a culture, as a people together. And just wanted to stop just for this moment and say thank you to all those first responders. And then, you know, we had that war that came afterward. Thank you for all that military presence that we had, and just giving that moment to say, you know, that was a moment in time, you know, for all of us. So that was the first thing, just that recognition there. And then another topic of conversation, more so in the Triangle specifically. I know this is the Raleigh listening area, but the neighbors right next door over in Durham, they've been having the Durham sanitation workers have been on strike for about a week. I think they actually went back to work today, but they're still in contract negotiations. And the whole issue there is just the concept of fair pay, fair wages. I saw a poster that really struck me, hence why I'm talking about it right now. And the poster said, I don't make enough to, I live in a place where I don't make enough that I service. I service a place that I don't make enough to live, or something of that nature. And it struck me that you can do work somewhere and not be able to feed your family, to be honest with you. And, you know, no matter what you think about minimum wage or whatever the wage number is, you know, we as a country, we all know that the financial situation that we're all going through is real, especially here in the Triangle. And those workers are just fighting for equity, you know, just fairness, to be able to feed their family and do a fair job and get paid a fair wage. So just wanted to use my voice to say, if you're in the Triangle, just be on the lookout for that. Once again, they went back to work today, but they're still in contract negotiations. So Durham, let's do what's right by them, and the whole Triangle. Let's do what's right by those people and help out wherever we can. And this is, you know, I wanted to use this platform just to say that to anybody who didn't know that was going on. That's happening. That's happening. So yeah, those are the topics of the day that I wanted to kind of get out there. But I got my guest in here. I got a guest in here, and I want to dive a little bit deeper into what Mr. Alan Thompson has going on. So I kind of became introduced to Alan over in Durham, and it's a thing called Bull City in the Basement. Bull City in the basement.
For sure.
Yeah, I've been looking at the music scene, trying to figure out who's doing what and where it's going on, and I stumbled upon Bull City in the basement. They put on a jam session over at Bariqua Soul on Sundays, and just reached out, didn't know who it was. It was just a thing on Instagram, right?
Absolutely.
And we ended up talking, and good person, good soul. And I said, do you want to come on the show? So let us know what you got going on. What is this Bull City in the basement? Let's start there.
Ah man, Bull City in the basement it's a lot of things, but just to give you some of the key focuses, we focus on raising awareness for about mental health and mental stability, mental instability within the artist community. We are advocates of fair wages for artists. We are advocates of providing culturally diverse platforms and outlets. And, most importantly, we are about the community. We're about preservation and preserving this beautiful thing that we have in the community, not just Durham, but the Triangle. One of the reasons why I fell in love with the Triangle and why I made the decision a little over 10 years ago, to move to Durham and for this to be the place that I call home. So, yeah.
So you say you moved to the Triangle. That means you came from somewhere. So where did you come from, and what brought you here specifically?
Yeah, I'm a transplant. I'm
Likewise.
Yeah. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, and I know to some of the people listening, it's only an hour away, but it was a culture shock to me at the time. At the time I was 18, so I was a baby. I received a partial scholarship to attend North Carolina Central University to major in jazz studies. So
another jazz studies major from NCCU. Big shout outs once again.
Absolutely. Huge shout out to the jazz studies department there. Shout out to North Carolina Central University. I met a lot of amazing people. I had some unforgettable experiences. I learned life lessons, not just within the institution, but outside of the institution. The motto is truth and service. So I came here wet behind the ears, learning, and ultimately I learned how to tell the truth, and I learned how to serve my community. So big shout out to all the Eagles out there.
Man, that's what's up, man. So like I said, another Central graduate, another product of NCCU Central, the jazz program over there. So you did jazz. So what's your principal instrument? Like what do you focus on in jazz studies?
So when I attended North Carolina Central University, my core focus was in saxophone.
Okay.
Core focus was in saxophone. I started playing most kids nowadays typically start out in sixth grade, middle school band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fifth grade. Elementary school, I was playing the violin. I took piano lessons. I was playing the violin through the Lillian Rausch Music Scholars, which was an organization that provided free lessons and instruments for youth in my elementary school. So I did that for a big majority of my time in elementary school. The program only lasted through elementary school. That was, I could only keep the instrument up until fifth grade. So my dad was like, well, do you still want to play violin? I'm like, nah. So he took me to a pawn shop and he said, look, you got two options. There's a trumpet over there. There's a saxophone over there. So at the time, I had an older cousin who played trumpet, and I don't know, it didn't really appeal to me like that. So it was something about the saxophone. I don't know. I just said, yeah, I want to play the saxophone. He's like,
that's a smooth instrument, man.
He's like, yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, man, saxophone, man, it's smooth. It's like jazz. My dad he was really into smooth jazz. So I took it up and I excelled.
Man, that's cool. It's actually funny. I played violin in middle school, and the reason I got into violin was simply because my sister played it before me, and that was the instrument in the house. And so I had to pick up an instrument, and that was the one that was in the closet. So I had to learn how to play violin, but it taught me. It did teach me music and an appreciation for different instruments, man. But that's cool, man. And so saxophone, you dove into it. So how deep did you go with saxophone? Or do you still play, or what you got?
Yeah. Most of the people in the community know me for playing saxophone. Most of the people in my life, like I said, I excelled in middle school, in the band. I was one of the top students there, And I started to build a reputation in school, and then to the point where it transcended to out in the community so much that my dad was thought so highly of it to help start a nonprofit for other children in the community. It was the Tri-Youth Jazz Society. It's no longer active, but at that time, it was other musicians, and their focus was to help provide youth with outlets in the community by providing them with private lessons, private instructions, also giving us the opportunity to go out and perform. So like when I was in middle school and in high school, like I was pretty much like I was on the road. You know, and it was all funded through this nonprofit, and I had the experience. I played on festivals. I did a lot of performances for organizations in the community. Did some news interviews. I got some TV exposure. You know, so I became like a local sensation really, really fast, and I believe that all of that got me here to Durham and got me into school, got me into college.
Wow. So you've been doing this for a while, huh? You've been on this grind. That's interesting. So a question that I was reading your bio and I kind of saw a little bit about that. And so you mentioned that your dad liked jazz, right? So from a musician's perspective, I've always had this interest. Is what made you want to go in jazz versus a marching band type of go to school and being the marching band versus being in the jazz ensemble?
Well, I did the marching band thing. I was in the marching band in high school. So I'm from Greensboro, and a lot of what people know, you know, there's a culture in Greensboro. You know, a lot of it is centered around two schools.
Was it Dudley? And
you got James Benson Dudley Senior High School, and then you have North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University. So you got Dudley and A&T, which are literally about 5 minutes away from each other, you know, same side of town. So the marching band thing, you know, it was a huge thing. I'm several generations of instrumentalists who served in the marching band at Dudley. We were constantly around mentors from A&T who would come to the marching band and would help us out and would give us wisdom and advice, help us with our instrument, help us to do the show. So, you know, I believe for me to get on stage and do what I do on the saxophone, it's not marching band, but I can't take away from those marching band experiences and influences. Our motto, we had the 7 C's: concentration, competence, cooperation, commitment, communication, consideration, and concentration. And
you hadn't forgotten.
Yeah, I mean that they drilled that stuff into us. It's engraved in my DNA at this point. So, you know, I keep that wisdom with me wherever I go.
That makes sense. Yeah, like I said, I play violin and then I put down instruments for a good long time. You know, I started making music and dibbling and dabbling and I've always been fascinated with marching bands, specifically now as an adult, you know, thinking about how fast you guys learn music, right? And so you got to learn a new song, you know, for the halftime show next week. And it's, you know, I play a couple instruments here and there, and it takes me like 3 weeks to learn a song, man. And it's like, man, y'all learning these songs in, you know, 4 or 5, 6 days, which is just impressive to me. And like you said, like those things that you learn, like playing sports, right? You know, you playing, you know, whatever you do in that time period in your life gets instilled in you, man. That's cool. And so I'm thinking as you're talking, like I said, your dad liked jazz, you know, you went into jazz, you did the marching band. What's your genre of choice? What makes you, you know, when you're in the car and you just kind of vibing out, what do you go for?
Man, it really all depends on the day. You know, like I grew up with an appreciation for music, not just through what I heard on the radio, but also through experiences. You know, just so you know, people in my family played instruments. People in my family sang in the choir, like men and women. But nobody ever. I don't have any stories of like, you know, such and such was on the road and such made records and such used to perform at the hole in the wall spot. Like I don't have that story. I grew up around people that just appreciated music, and some of the
Gotcha.
the most vivid memories was you know, on the weekends. You know, I lived in a very small house with a lot of people, a lot of adults, and on weekends, you know, like our house in the neighborhood would be the spot where people would come over and hang. You know, people, you know, drink a little something, smoke a little something, you know, and it was always music playing, you know, from some speaker outside under the carport. So I absorbed all of that, you know, and you never know what you would hear. You know, what's Greensboro's station, well, actually it's A&T station, WNAA, which was
shout out.
Yeah, shout out. My cousin served on under that station for many years, D. Cherie, and you know, definitely a huge influence in the radio scene in the Triad. Yeah, I listened to a lot of music. You know, it's like, you know, they played everything from jazz, like from traditional straight ahead to smooth jazz to neo soul to like old school hip hop. On Sundays, you know, they played the quartet music, and then in the morning time, and then in the late afternoons they played a reggae. Wow. You know, and then later that night they would go into house. You know, so I absorbed all of that as a child, and it was almost like it was overwhelming. You know, it like just listening to music became a catharsis for me at a very early age. So you know, I think overall it just made me a great listener all through life. And you know, I tell people I play music. Nowadays I don't consider myself a musician.
Really?
I more so consider myself an artist.
Okay.
And I mean, we can touch more on that, but
yeah, we got to come back to that one. We're gonna have to come back to that one. That was loaded right there.
Yeah, but I tell people, you know, before over anything, like, I'm a listener, you know, and that's what makes me, you know, that's what puts the battery in my back. Just being able to listen to things that I've never heard before and experience things that I've never experienced. You know, like I'm a thrill seeker. I appreciate heartfelt music in whatever form it may come. Like, just ask my kids. Ain't no telling what I'm gonna play when we in the car riding around.
Yeah, nah, man, I get that. I mean, I'm the exact same way. I always tell people my two favorite genres are rap and country, two totally different sides of the spectrum. But I listen to all music, and I appreciate it. One of my thought processes that I kind of go by is, man, music in general, no matter the genre, music should evoke emotion, right? In some form or fashion, it should make you feel some kind of way. And whatever that emotion is at that time is what it is. But and whatever the genre is what it is. But as long as it makes you feel something, it can make you feel mad. That's okay. That's what music is what it's supposed to do, in my particular opinion. But man, that's cool. So you kind of talked about at the very beginning, Bull City in the basement, right? Yeah. And so you're talking about, you know, as you grow up in Greensboro, you're listening to all types of music. You start to play at an early age, and you're kind of traveling, doing your thing. And then you go to school, and you're a musician there. But what gets you to the point of, like, where you want to advocate for other musicians? What gets you there?
Man, you know, I think it really, you know, for me, I grew up around a lot of people that really just, you know, they saw the potential in me, they saw the good in me, and they went out their way to help me, you know, whether it was through providing a resource, through pointing me in the direction towards a resource, or maybe, you know, trying to help keep me out of trouble. Like, so this is the thing. I grew up on the east side of Greensboro, and you know, if you're not from Greensboro, then you might not be privy, you know, or have any understanding about, you know, like how Greensboro is how it looks for somebody that's growing up there, especially being black, being a young black male. You know, in my opinion, you know, Greensboro is, you know, my experiences growing up there, Greensboro is a very segregated place, even for me. Like in the 90s, the side of town that I grew up in, like the neighborhood, you know, like I saw a lot of stuff. I saw prostitution at an early age. I saw drug dealing at an early age. I saw gang violence at an early age. I saw homelessness. You know, I grew up with friends who, you know, came from very, like, unstable household backgrounds. Even like my own household, like, you know, we went through our things internally in the home. You know, just right. You know, like, you know, just, you know, my parents just working hard, just trying to make ends meet. You know, we didn't always have a lot. We didn't always have what we wanted, but they hustled. You know, they worked their butts off to make sure that we had what we needed. So there was a lot of influences that really could have totally just taken me. Like a lot of my friends, I grew up with a lot of talented people. I grew up with kids I went to school with who was like the same height as me, like touching the rim of the basketball goal. I grew up with people, who had other talents, who were also talented in music, who also were extremely intelligent, could add, divide, multiply any type of number. But, like some of those peers aren't as, like they may not be as fortunate because of the environment and all of those things that came with that environment. I knew friends who were being initiated in the gangs, and like when we were in elementary school, like just throwing up gang signs on the yard. Also, just violence, gun violence. I encountered gunfire when I was in like middle school, like I was actually being shot at. Like I don't think, grace of God, like none of those bullets were intended for me, but it was just scary, traumatic experiences. So I needed an outlet, and I'm thankful and fortunate for like those mentors that I had in my life to help steer me in the right direction. And for me, I found refuge through art.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way, man. Very similar background actually. Seeing some of that at an early age, and I always go, fortunately, I had both of my parents in the household, and a lot of people in my neighborhood didn't, and they looked at my dad as a father figure. I had to share my dad, and not had to in a negative way, but I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. And literally, like you just said, art in a certain way, for me, still connects me to that point in time. I've been successful in different ventures of my life, but music and art still connects me to those people in that place in my life. And being able to share whatever I have and whatever I can give, like such as a platform like this, means a lot. And so when we were talking, our first conversation that you and I had over at Hey Ty Collective Kitchen and Cocktails, it's going up on a Tuesday.
Shout out to Hey Ty. Shout out to Hey Ty, yo.
Shout out to CJ Baker. They're going up in a little bit. We'll shout them out. We'll shout you out at the end. I know you watching. CJ.
We name dropping.
We name dropping. But yeah, we had our conversation over there, and we just kind of made that connection about equity for artists, and equity for people. Hence why we started the show out with the Durham sanitation workers and what they're doing. It's just an opportunity to be able to give something to other people, and using art or using communication, using whatever tool you have to do that. So I really appreciate that, man. That's why I wanted to call that out. And what you're doing, and the advocacy and the equity piece of it, especially with musicians. You kind of gave me another perspective in our conversation that we had about just the concept that, music, we all know music is an industry. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows music is an industry. But let's talk about like the local.
Everybody don't know that.
Everybody don't know it. So
everybody don't know that.
Yeah, you're right. I'm close to music. So yeah, I get it. But you're right. Everybody don't know that. And especially when it comes down to the local level, these musicians, it's an industry, and these musicians, a lot of them, and you're going to see them come through, are full-time. They're full-time musicians, and they're out here grinding, and it's a whole ecosystem. It's a whole industry. And how do we help that industry as well? And so I want you to speak on that a little bit more, since you're actually in it more than I am.
Yeah. So like I said, going to North Carolina Central taught me a lot about playing music. Taught me a huge shout out to Dr. Ira T. Wiggins, who I consider to be one of a very important mentor in my life. I met Dr. Wiggins through the Guilford County all county jazz band. So I auditioned when I was in high school, and I made a second chair. Oh God.
No, what is second chair?
So in jazz band, right? Like jazz big band, we're talking about the setting, you talk about like swing bands and all of that stuff. It's an ensemble, and you have different instrumentalists, like you have trumpets, you have saxophones, you have trombones, you have a drum set, piano, rhythm section, guitar. It's just a large ensemble, and this is how just like a basketball team. You got people that play different positions. Well, like in jazz band, you have different chairs. So you have let's say like alto saxophone. You have first chair alto, second chair alto. Then you have first tenor, second tenor. Man, I haven't played big band in a while, but first chair alto is has a role of being the voice of the saxophone section. So they're usually their sound resonates. It's like the captain of the saxophone collective, that's playing. So, and then you have second chair sax that, they might not have some of the same roles that first chair has, but they also have an important role. They might be the one that takes all like the alto solos. So I mean, it's a cool thing. Big band music is dope, and it's also challenging. It's challenging. It's a challenge. So I auditioned in high school, and Dr. Wiggins was the director. He was he was the special guest director of that band. So we followed him, and afterwards he told me if I was interested to come to Central. So I listened to him, and he got me in. But I forgot the
no. We were just talking and just having general conversation about
Oh yeah. I know what you. So I'm back. All right. So yeah. So this is the thing. I learned a lot about how to play music at a high level. But one thing that I lacked, and I think a lot of my peers lacked as well, was having an understanding of the business. So we living in Durham, and we know how to play music and stuff like that, but we don't know how to market ourselves. And because of that, I remember going to a lot of like jazz showcases and like open mics and jam sessions, and hearing some of the most incredible musicians ever, but it would never be packed unless it was like somebody that had like a big name, what I'm saying? Like if I remember being undergrad, like Al Strong, was like the guy. Al Strong. And Al Strong still is the guy. But when I was younger in undergrad, it was like you go to an Al Strong show, you see mad people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or like if you were to go see Brian Miller, you know what I'm saying? Like you would see a lot of people, but these were only like a few of the people in the ethos, you know what I'm saying? Like as far as like jazz as a scene, it's almost like I wasn't seeing the same amount of representation as I saw when I would go to some of these these hip hop showcases or these rap showcases or like R&B or something like that.
And from my perspective, even in today, I think that's still something that we have to keep working towards, in my opinion. In the Triangle, I think the jazz scene is huge, and the musicians themselves, there's so many and they're so talented. But how do we populate the seats? How do we advocate for the musicians and actually get the community aware and the business side of it? As I talk to some of the musicians, just trying to figure out where they're at and where they're trying to go and how to push the needle forward. And trying to figure out what their understanding of the business is.
Bruh. I had I had to fight tooth and nail, you know what I'm saying? Like to get, just to even get the look at being in this scene, you know what I'm saying? It's a rite of passage, and I have so much respect for my community, here in the Triangle and the music scene. It really is a serious, bro, that jazz scene is so serious. When I first got here, people knew about me. You know what I'm saying? I had somewhat of a reputation before I even got here. So it was like because of that, there was so much more pressure on me. A lot of the artists that were older than me, they had certain expectations for me, and either I delivered or I didn't. If I delivered, I would have, I would advance a step further as far as respect goes. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't deliver, I had to sit my ass in the back. You know what I'm saying? And so when it finally got to I had an opportunity to host my own weekly jam session, which at first it got off to a very slow start, and and you know, we were rehearsing my apartment like every week, you know what I'm saying? Like me and some of my colleagues, and then over time, more people started to come and check us out. More musicians came to sit in. More people came to hear and to spectate. Man, I did that session for a fall semester. I got paid like $30. Like, you know what I'm saying? I played it was like every Wednesday night. Yeah. I got paid like $30, like in a check. In the form of a check, bro. And I'm just kind of, like, I didn't care at the time. I needed money, you know what I'm saying, which is probably one of the other reasons why I didn't care. But at the same time, like, I just love the music. But being realistic now in hindsight, man, that's not sustainable.
Yeah, man. I talked to a guy, a musician. He does a lot of jam sessions over in Durham, and man, I love the sound of his instrument. He plays guitar. I love the sound of it. And I was just talking to him about some different things, and he was honest, man. He was saying he's a musician, right? He was like, I don't understand the business of it that much. I get it enough, but like to push myself to the next level that, it's sustainable and it's great for me. He's plainly said, that's not what I do. He said, I come out here almost every night and I'm jamming with these guys. And what we talk about after the session is, were you playing an A sus chord or were you playing a C major? Like, what chords were you playing? And we never talk about, like, that's just not what we discuss and how to get it. And I can understand it. In order to be great, you got to have tunnel vision. I understand it, but where's that advocacy? And I like how you stepping in that gap.
Man, it's like from that aspect, like being a musician, because I mean, there's a certain amount of work that you do have to put in. You know what I'm saying? Like, respect from your peers is an important thing. Also, respect from the listeners and the audience is also, and that's going to be what gets you paid overall. Man, like, it got to a point where I was having fun, I was learning, gaining experience, but then I just started like not really being into the scene no more, because I would go to these sessions and then at the end of the sessions, like, I'm just talking with other musicians in the corner about like like A sus dominant 7 chords and stuff like that. But the musicians is not what supplies you. You know what I'm saying? It's the people. You know what I'm saying? So I had to change my mindset too. I'm playing music to people. You know what I'm saying? To people that might not care what type of chord that I played. They might not.
Does it feel good?
Yeah, that's it. Yo, does it feel good? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm spending my money here. I'm buying food. I may pay a cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm taking my lady out. I'm taking my hubby out.
I want to feel good.
Yeah. I need an escape. I work like all week long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need an escape, and I need whoever is on that stage to deliver. I need them to speak to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So once I started, and I have people in my corner, like, once again, Al Strong is another one of those dudes who really taught me that, like in the time that I spent like playing in his band and just soaking in that knowledge from him. Another guy is Marcus Anderson.
Marcus,
Marcus has been giving me like wisdom and dropping gems on me since I was like 13, 14 years old. Like, I met Marcus. I opened up for Marcus when I was like 13, 14. But it wasn't Marcus's band. Marcus was playing with this incredible bassist from Virginia by the name of David Dyson.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, David Dyson was like
David Dyson. That's a new name for me.
Yeah, man. He's dope, man. He's super dope. Like, I'm in this band with like all these little preteens and teenagers, and like we opened up for them, and I think we're in Greenville, at some like tiny spot, bro. But I met Marcus like several times when I was a teenager, and every time it's like, hey man, I'm Marcus Anderson, take my card. You know what I'm saying? But over time, like, we developed like a strong friendship, and he's always just been in my corner. Him and Al just like giving me advice. But that's one of the key things. It's like, at the end of the day, it's about these people, making a connection with these people. You learn all this stuff, whether it's in school, whether it's spending time with the records, whether it is being under other musicians so that you can give back to the community, bro.
You're dropping all these names, and I appreciate that, because these are people who are actually helping musicians, and that's that's what it's all about. One helps another and gives back, and that's what we're trying to do here. So if you're just tuning in, this is RDU Live with your host Cameron McCarty. We have Alan Thompson here with us. We're talking music, we're talking jazz. We're about to open this conversation up to just different things, but yeah, we're live on Oak 93.5 WRLY. We're here for another about 20 minutes. So if you have any topics that you want to talk about, that you want to hear, hey, the phone lines are open, 919-899-9305. We're here just talking. So we're talking about music and musicians and musicians advocacy and equity in the industry, in the space. And we're talking about different people who have been helping out, especially in the Triangle. Alan he plays sax, but now he's transitioning more into like a producer type role, promoter for the musicians with Bull City in the Basement. We were having a conversation over at Hey Ty, and you were telling me about some projects, something, and I'm going to let you say the name of it because I always forget the exact wording. Was it not House of Art? It's
Oh no, you're talking about North Star Church of the Arts.
North Star Church of the Arts. So speak a little bit about that and the projects that you're working on over there.
Yeah, for sure. So like pandemic hit, right? And like right before the pandemic, like my life was I had some drastic changes, you know what I'm saying? Like not drastic bad, but like drastic good. Like I got married, helped to bring my first child into this world, became a dad, became a husband and a dad. Yeah. Like everything's going super well. I'm getting calls, opportunities, like I'm got a little money in my pocket. Then the pandemic hits and everything just stops. Like I'm watching all of these dates just disappear from my calendar.
Off the calendar.
Yeah, so like now I got to figure out how to make money as well. So, it's like, people doing stuff and, you got the live streaming and stuff like that. I ain't really want to do that, because I just felt like that wasn't my cup of tea. I prefer playing on stages and stuff, playing shows. Ultimately, like I started to, there was a point where I was really depressed and just feeling really burnt out, just from putting all this time into music, not really making money off of it, questioning if people really saw the value in what we were bringing to the community, you know what I'm saying? But also, you got to give people grace as well because, the music community is just one community in a community, It's like there's so much other stuff going on outside of the music and the culture. And usually when an economy suffers, the first thing that takes a hit, art takes a hit, you know what I'm saying? People ain't making money like that. So it's like people, may not have $20-$30 to drop on some tickets to see a local artist. Or, they may question the value in that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, go to these shows and pay $20 or $30 every week or save up my money to go see Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Like one time out the year and pay like $400, $500. And it's like I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's reality.
It's reality, and I understand. Which is why it just pushes me. So, anyways, moving forward, I received two calls from two incredibly extraordinary people who happen to be artists. One is by the name of Tristan Andre. I did some work early this year with Playmakers Repertory on a piece titled "They Do Not Know Harlem." It's centered around the life of James Baldwin, also the life of Tristan Andre. Incredible piece, and it was my debut as a music director. You know what I'm saying? Like something I've never done before on that magnitude. So it was a learning curve for me. Like I'm learning more about production now, and I'm stepping into being a legit producer. We had it was like a 7-night run. We packed out like every single night. Live band. Wow. It was beautiful. So make sure y'all look up Tristan Andre, an amazing
Tristan Andre.
An amazing actor, amazing playwright. Also. Going back to North Star Church of the Arts, an incredible space in Durham that has become a safe space and a haven for all different types of artists. So, like you go there each and every month. There's no telling what you're going to get, but your soul will be fed through art and through culture. So I've had the honor and privilege of working with another amazing person by the name of Derek Beasley. And this last piece, I also had the opportunity and privilege to compose a score for this piece. It's an exhibit, and the exhibit is up now until the 16th. Like it's been up for a few weeks now, but I believe the 16th is the last day. So you can follow North Star Church of the Arts for more information on how you can check that out. And
So North Star Church of the Arts, you did a score for a visual project that'll be up until September 16th.
Yes, collaboration with the artist by the name of Derek Beasley. So make sure y'all check that out.
Yeah, definitely go check that out. So we're talking about, your works and your pieces. You actually sent over a track. Let the people know if you wanna put it out there, we can do it. That's up to you though.
Yeah, I mean, look, man. Like I appreciate you providing this platform. I feel like I can be real. I can be transparent.
Yeah.
And it's like we getting older now. So if we not being honest, what we doing?
What we doing?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
what we doing?
Yeah. So like my life in a nutshell is always it's always about serving the community. Everything that I do, any idea that I have, whether it's for profit or whether it's nonprofit, like at the end of the day, my first initial thoughts is how can I tie this into helping the community. So I've played a lot of music. I've played for various festivals. I've been featured on a lot of different recordings. And I don't really have a project of my own. I'm
Okay.
working on an EP right now, and I'm feeling like I'm in a given mood, and I want to just share just some now these are concepts. Nothing is set in stone. And just be vulnerable and see if the people like it or not.
Well, so you gave us "We Are the Powers That Be."
Okay, so that's not it. But you should definitely play that. And I'll tell you why. So "We Are the Powers That Be" is a composition that was written by a great friend of mine by the name of Victor Moore. I'm on his album. I'm featured on his album. It's called All Night Public Radio. That's the name of his band. For a couple years, like we did some runs, and he's also another mentor of mine. I gave you a CD, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so you can't hear this on streaming platforms, and I think exclusivity is very important. Like in our industry, it also features a vocalist by the name of DL Zen, who's another amazing talent who also was with me with the Playmakers Repertory throughout that stint. So I think you should play that.
If you want us to do it, I can press the button, big dog.
Yeah. I'm all about the homies, and it's something. It's rare when I find music that I create that's in rotation, like in my own playlist. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes we're our own worst critics. A lot of times I write music and it's like after I'm done, I don't even want to hear it. It's like because I've spent hours working on this. But I really like what we did on this record. It speaks to me. It's become somewhat of a mantra for me each and every day of the week. When I'm getting up going to work. So
okay, we got a mantra here. Okay, so we got "We Are the Powers That Be." Let's go ahead and try this track out, and "We Are the Powers That Be." Let's do it.
Who's gonna make it happen? Who's gonna be the captain? Who's gonna set us free? Where do we get the fire? Where's the creative power? Who's gonna give decree? How can we rid the darkness? How can the light be harnessed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that was "We Are the Powers That Be." Do you want to name all the artists or the artists that you can remember on that?
Oh, yeah. So, this is AN, wow, All Night Public Radio, ANPR, band formed by Victor Moore. Huge shout out to Vic. Huge shout out to DL Zen. You heard DL Zen on vocals, myself on saxophone, and Darian Alexander on bass. What up, B-side? Man, guitar. Hold up. See, that's why, I miss CDs because I actually have.
You got the credits right in front of you.
Yeah. So who's in the I know I'm missing somebody else. Charles Newkirk, JC, Justin Martin, and my man John Curry. Huge shout out to John Curry. I didn't even say anything. Shout out to Zoo Crew, yo.
Zoo Crew, yeah.
Shout out to Zoo Crew. That's like a whole nother segment.
Yeah. Big shout outs, man. So, hey, man, we've been here. We've been having some good conversation. We're coming to the bottom of our hour. This is the RDU live show. We're on from 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday right here on Oak 93.5 WRLY. We're streaming on Facebook and YouTube, various places. This week we have the opportunity to have someone like Alan Thompson sitting in here. He's been giving us some good conversation. And so we're about to kind of look ahead. So we were talking about Bull City in the Basement and the jam session that you have going on there. So when does that happen and where can they find that?
Yeah, so we've been teaming up with Boricua Soul for a few years now. Huge shout out to Toriano and Serena, owners of the establishment, great people, huge community advocates, good people. I can't even express that enough, y'all. They're so great. So we've been working with them for a few years now. We actually just wrapped things up this past Sunday. For the fall season, it's an outside thing.
Right.
Yeah. And our last, the last event, we paid a tribute to an artist from our community who's no longer with us, Sam King, who passed away. Recently, a couple weeks ago, and we just want to express our condolences to the family members, to other friends out there. Sam was an incredible musician, incredible person, incredible father, and we wanted to dedicate that session to him, and
What's next on the horizon for Bull City Basement?
Bull City in the Basement, right now, we've our biggest thing that we've been doing is contracting artists and working with artists.
Nice. Are you looking for artists to work with, or
we're always looking for artists to work with. We're always looking for artists to showcase. So regardless if it's like if it's labor love type of things, album releases, or even if it's corporate events, we want to be of aid to artists in the community and whatever that may be. The biggest thing that we've been stressing with the artist community is contracts. I want people out there to just listen to me, especially like if there's any artists who are listening to me right now. Artists don't be moving with contracts, like the vast majority of local artists, and I think that it's important because I don't know, I can't speak for the next person, but when I am engaging with social media, the algorithms point me to certain target groups, and I noticed that with the artist community, there's a few pages that I follow that have like a few thousand people who are artists in the community, and I frequently I'm seeing situations where people are talking about poor, the money getting funny. You know what I'm saying? The money getting funny, and I want to just tell you all that having contracts, regardless to whatever the amount is, it could be $10,000 on the table, or it could be $100 on the table. Just having things in writing. So it's like all of our artists that we contract, we're adamant about those contracts. And it's not just for us. It's for everybody that's involved. So you normally you have like you have managers, you have people that work these establishments, and you have the artists. So just making sure that everybody is everybody is taken care of, making sure that we all are coming to fair agreements. You would be surprised how many people don't operate like that. And then, it's like people, like now we're in the age of social media.
Yeah.
When things get funny, the first thing that people want to do when they're not protected is go to social media. And then it just gets real messy.
So before you get there, get your business right. Always take care of your business on paper.
And you won't be sitting around looking salty.
You
know what I'm saying? And I've had my share of experiences where I've gotten burnt. Like I've gotten burnt because I didn't have that stuff in writing, and that's that's something that I think as a whole, regardless of whatever genre that you in, we missing now is that artist development. You know what I'm saying? Like social media has kind of just pushed that to the wayside.
So if you're an artist out there, if you're listening, if you're a musician or artist, our listening audience is probably a lot of musicians because that's what I network with a lot. Hey, if you're in that situation and you're trying to figure out contracts or you don't have things in writing, you don't know what that paperwork looks like, Alan Thompson is somebody to reach out to. Bull City in the Basement. Reach out to him, man. How can they find you guys just to get that conversation going?
So you can follow us on Instagram. We're on Instagram at Bull City in the Basement. You can look us up on Google. We have a Facebook page. You can reach out directly. You can send us a DM. We'll send you our contact information if you want to send take it a further step. But we are here for the artist community, and also we're here for the community as a whole. I think a lot of times, it's real easy for people in the community to create this narrative, especially when the money be funny. Right. That it's like it's musicians against the establishment and stuff like that. Like, nah, it ain't even that. A lot of people thought it was that when we first started this thing, but it's like, nah, we here for the community. You know what I'm saying? And,
I get it, man. I get it. It's you come in and when the money be funny and you talking about writing stuff down and getting stuff on paper, people tense up, and don't really know how to engage with it. But that's why we have somebody like you. That's why I'm happy to have you on the show and just to talk about that kind of thing, especially from a musician standpoint. You've been there, done that, been in it, and you know what it's all about. So, man, I appreciate all the work you're doing, all the work you have done and are going to do. I appreciate you for coming on the show, man. This means so much to me that you trusted me with your time in this conversation, and on live radio. We only had one conversation and you trusted me enough to be able to have this conversation live, for the public to hear. So I really, really appreciate that, man. So we got to get out of here, man. We're at the bottom of our hour. Hey, this is the RDU Live Show. We're live from 6 to 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. Every Tuesdays, tune in on Oak 93.5 WRLY. Tune us on your FM dial or on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live. We'll be at you next week. Be looking out for who's coming up next. We'll have somebody special, so be on the lookout for that. I'm Cameron McCarty, your host, and like I like to say, let's go live.
Peace.
Oak 93.5 is a low-power FM service brought to you by Triangle Access Broadcasting, a non-profit corporation.